Hello anyone, everyone and no one. My name is Slack Lizard and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can build a working guardian farm for Bedrock Edition that will produce around 30 levels of experience in around about 2 minutes and produce 15,000 drops per hour. That being that, let's get a materials list for what you're going to need to build this farm and let's get straight into it, shall we? All right, so first things first, once we find our ocean monument, we need to find the spawn spots. Now, of course, we're using a resource pack here made by Mad Hatter, which shows all spawn spots in ocean monuments if you have an armor stand holding a shard. Now, of course, if you have access to using one of these packs, you can download this off of Hatter's website. Link will be down in the video's description. But for a lot of you, you're not going to be able to do this because you're playing on Xbox or you're playing on PlayStation. So we're going to have to do this a bit of the manual way. So first things first is we need to find the northwest corner of the monument. And the monument itself will help us in doing this. If we grab a prismarine brick here and we put this above the water, this point on this side always points to the north. So we got this inverted Y. The stem of that always points to the north so that we know that that is the north. So now that we know that's the north, well, then the north is that way and the west is that way because east is that way. We're just going to go over here to the northwest corner and we're going to place down some blocks. Now, another thing that I should note here, it does not matter the orientation of your monument. You see how this monument is faced like this and we got the entrance over here? Well, that monument over there, the entrance is to the side. Does not matter. The monument's rotation does not matter in this. The spawn spots are always going to be the same based off of the northwest corner. So what we're going to come down here and do is we're going to build a pillar up right outside the edge of our monument right here. And we're going to take this thing all the way up to the surface. Now, of course, you would have need to have cleared out the Elder Guardians if you had chose to, so that you do not get mining fatigue, but that is neither here nor there at this moment. This is our starting spot. We are in the northwest corner, and our first spawn spot is 2 blocks in diagonal. So we got 2 blocks in, and then right here is our first spawning spot right there. Now what we need to do is mark out all of these spawning spots, and what I'm going to do is put an image up on screen now that shows you where all the spawning spots are. So starting from our northwest corner, you're going to go 10 blocks to the south, and then the 11th block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that is our next spawning spot. So using the image on screen and showing all the counts that you need to do, you need to map out all of your spawning spots. And once you've got all that mapped out, you should have something that looks just like this. Now, at this point, we need to make these spawn columns unspawnable. Now, in this tutorial, we are using redstone blocks to indicate where our spawning spots are. So that's what we're going to use to make our pillars out of. You can use whatever you want in this situation. This is just what we're using for the tutorial. So we need to take these columns and we need to fill them all the way in so that we can eliminate guardian spawns at this ocean monument, because we want to control where the guardians are going to be spawning. So these columns go all the way down to Y40. And if you're curious, Y40 is the bottom of the ocean monument. So now you need to go through, and underneath every one of your spawning block indicators, aka redstone is what we've used, you need to fill all of these columns in all the way down to Y40. And once you get all of your spawn spots filled in, you should have something that looks like this. As a matter of fact, it should look pretty much exactly like this, just with a different block and maybe instead of redstone. Now from here, we're going to start working on our guardian farm, and we are going to be moving over here to the southeast corner, aka the opposite corner of where we began, because the spawn spaces between these are just 9 and 9, which just makes this a lot easier to deal with. Now what we are going to do at this point, we're going to come down here inside this corner of the ocean monument, and we are going to dig out around here so that we can see all 4 of our spawn spots here. Now, once we've got all of that dug out and we can see our spawn columns, what we are going to do is we are going to grab some building blocks of choice, and we are going to go out one block on the outside of each of these columns, and we're going to make a square all the way around this. So we'll take this all the way around this one. We'll take this all the way around this one. Bring it all the way back this way, connect it up to that one, and then we're going to square this room off here completely. So we're going to build this up. You can take this to whatever height you want. We're just going to leave the height that was inside of the monument right here, and we're going to square off this room. And once we have this room squared off, we should end up with something that looks just like this. Now what we need to do is drain the water out of this room, and we need to dig this down all the way to Y35. So right here, drain it and dig it all out. Once you got all that done, it's time to go ahead and add in our drop chutes for our guardian farm. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to continue this column all the way down on each of these so that we can see where this lines up with on the floor, and it should line up one block away from each of the sides here, just like so. And then at this point, we want to go ahead and put on our glass tubes for our drop chutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glass all the way up through here, just like so, 2 blocks on that side. We're going to come over here and we're going to put glass on this side, 2 blocks up, all the way up. We can go ahead and knock out these temporary ones that we had placed there. We're going to put in 2 right here, just like this, all the way up to the roof. And we're going to do the same thing on this side over here so that we have a 2x2 drop chute in there where all guardians are going to end up. So we're going to come over here on this side and we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way up to the roof here. We're going to come around here to this side, do the same thing, glass going all the way up to the roof. And we're going to do this for all 4 of these in here. And once you have that done, you now have 4 glass tubes that lead all the way up to your ceiling inside of here. Now we need to back outside of here, and we need to continue these glass tubes all the way up to the surface. And once you have that brought all the way up to the surface, you should have now 4 tubes that look exactly like this, with the spawn spots in each of the corners on the outside. From here, we're going to go ahead and drain out the water of each of these tubes, but we're going to leave our blocks in to block spawns until we get our Trident killers in place, which is what we will do after we drain these tubes. And with a little help from some sponges, we've now got these tubes all the way drained down into our room down below. Also, we've removed any extra parts of the monument that were in the way of the drop chutes. So from here, it's time to go down and work on our Trident killers. So now that we're back down here inside of our room, what we are going to do is we're going to knock out the bottom 3 layers of glass out of here. Might want to use Silk Touch so that you can save your glass, but hey, that's your prerogative. Do what you want to in that situation. From here, we're going to go ahead and break out these 4 blocks right there, and then these 2. And we're going to place down blue ice. We want blue ice because we want the experience to slide off of the ice and come to the player without adding in water streams. So once we've got that in place, we're going to grab our piston. We're going to place a piston in that back corner there, right-handed pistons. Right-handed piston right there, and right there. From here, we're going to grab solid blocks. We're going to put a solid block there. We're going to put a solid block there. We're going to put solid blocks there, and we're going to put temporary solid blocks there, and we'll put another one right here. From here, we're going to grab an observer, and that observer is going to be looking that way off of that block. That one looking that way. That one looking that way, and one more looking that way. From here, we're going to grab some more solid blocks. We're going to put a solid block right there with a redstone torch on the back of that. Solid block right there, redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch, solid block, and of course a redstone torch. From here, let's go ahead and grab our lever, and we're going to put our lever on this block here so that we can turn our Trident killer on and off. At this point, let's go ahead and break these two solid blocks here, place a slab there and a slab there. This will allow the experience to flow out into the player, and this diamond block represents the AFK spot where we're going to be AFKing. Now at this point, there's only a couple more things we need to do to get this Trident killer up and running. We need to waterlog that piston right there. That also helps to push items around and to push the experience around so that the player can collect it up from the AFK spot. And at this point, we could go ahead and close this up. And at that point, our first Trident killer is now in place. We will be adding in our delivery system for the Trident in just a moment. But what I want to do now is go ahead and knock out these 3 blocks of glass on each of these and place in the ice to show you exactly where it goes on each of these. And now that all of our blue ice is in place, this is the pattern in the floor for the other 3. We've got the first one in. The next one is just like that. You got your 2, then you got 2 blue ice right there. Next one is your 2x2, 2 blue ice right there. Your 2x2, 2 blue ice right there. It is a repeating pattern, as you can see here. So piston, 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 and piston. Over here to this side, you always have this one block right here that's a piston, 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 piston. This way it allows for this waterlogged piston and the blue ice to let the experience always be channeling to the player. So water force in this way, blue ice this way, path of least resistance for the experience to get to the player. Same thing right here. Just like so, just like so. Waterlogged, all the experience goes straight to the player. So now we need to build our Trident killers for these 3. And just like that, we now have all 4 of our Trident killers in place. There is an additional step that we need to do here. We need to go ahead and place in 2 blocks right there. We're going to fill in the corner block and we're going to fill in behind the piston on each of these. So just like that, you get 3 there and you get 2 there. And that is the block. Just sometimes the game, Guardians want to get pulled through the piston. That should stop it. We hope. You know, accidents do happen. So each of these here, 3x2, 3x2. We're not blocking our blue ice paths, but we are blocking behind the pistons. From here, we're going to go ahead and put in our Trident delivery system. Now, the reason we're doing a delivery system with this is say you want to let someone else use your Guardian farm to get experience and you're not online. Well, they need a way that they can get the Trident and rethrow the Trident without actually getting in there with the Guardian. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the observer by our lever. We're going to break out that glass block right there, and we're going to put a trapdoor in, and when you close it, it should look just like that. From here, we're going to punch out that block and that block, and we're going to put a piston right there, and we're going to put a solid block right there with a button on it like so. So at this point, we can grab our Trident, we can throw our Trident up there, we can push the button, the Trident falls, and the Trident is now in our Trident killer. So when we turn this thing on, we have a Trident that's been thrown by the player that threw it against that. So once again, we're going to come over here to this side. We're going to break that, that, and that. We're going to put in a piston there, solid block there, button there, a trapdoor like so, and boom. So I can grab our Trident, go ahead and throw our Trident up there, push our button, and close our trapdoor, and it is now in place. We'll do the same thing on each of these. And once you have all 4 delivery systems in place, you can now change out the Tridents between players whenever you want to. And to do that, it's relatively simple. You turn on the Trident killer and you break this slab right here and just walk forward. Once you walk forward, you're able to grab the Trident. So I could come back over here and somebody else could rethrow it, push the button, and it will drop down in there and now be functioning. So at this point, our farm is almost ready to go. Let's go ahead and get some storage in before we move on and allow our Guardians to spawn. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1 layer beneath this floor, and we're going to dig out 4 blocks or so underneath of all of this. And if we just go right down this, we now have a room dug out down here where we're going to do our storage. Storage, I'm just going to show you how you can collect up the items, and if you want to run them into an auto sorter or something like that, that's your own choice. I'm just showing you how to collect the items. So from here, we're going to go to our 2x2 right here, and we're going to place a temporary block and then a hopper right there, and we're going to put a chest underneath of this hopper. From here, we're going to put a block right there and a block right there. We're going to put a rail right on there. And of course, that's going to orientate the wrong way. So whichever way the rail orientates, do like so. And then we're going to place our hopper minecart right there. The hopper minecart will pick up the items from the top side and deliver them down into the chest. So we're going to go over here. We're going to place in 2 blocks like so. Temporary block there. Hopper right there. Chest there. There. Break our temporary block. Place down our rail and place down our hopper minecart. Once again, we're going to place in our 3 blocks across here. We're going to place in our hopper there. We're going to put a chest there. Break out that block. Put in a rail there and a hopper minecart. You have to have this hopper minecart on top of that hopper to collect the items. Where you choose to go with them after this point, that's your choice. If you want to put them in a chest right there, that's fine. If you want to feed them out and put them into an auto sorting system, that's fine. But this is how you have to collect the items from the top. So one more time, place our blocks in across there, hopper there, chest connected up to that hopper, break that, place in the rail, and then place in the hopper minecart. The hopper minecart cannot move because of the blocks. All items will end up inside of our storage system. So now it's time to actually finish up this guardian farm. So let's go up to the top and do that. And now once we're back up here to the top, it is time to actually remove our spawn blockers at this moment in time. Now I'm going to leave in the very top block for demonstrational purposes here, but we're going to go ahead and remove all these bottom ones on all 4 of these. And now that we've got those removed, let's put in our spawning block. The guardians need a block to spawn on, so we're going to knock out the top block there. We're going to go down to the 3rd block, so you got 2 blocks right there. And that's where our guardians are going to be spawning. We're going to put a button right there and right there, even with our block. And then we're going to put another button right there. And then we are going to put water in here. So we have water flowing over to this corner and to this corner, and this corner is a air gap. Any guardians that spawn here will eventually make their way down into the Trident killer. So now that we know that, it's the same process over here. Knock out our blocker block, go down to the 3rd block, place a button even with the 3rd block on that side, and then 1 block up on this side, so that when we put our water in, we get water flowing that way, water flowing that way, and an air gap here. Over here to this side, knock out our blocker block, go down to the 3rd block, place in our button at the same level as our block, put another button right there to block the water from flowing over, and boom, bam, water going that way, air gap right there. Moving to our last one here, place that one there. Once again, button, 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 and water here. At this point, it's ready to start spawning guardians. And with our spawning spots ready to go, let's go ahead and turn on each of our Trident killers here. We are sitting here with the looting sword, and it should not take long, and we should start collecting experience. As you can see there, we already got 1 level, 2 levels, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we get quite a levels really quick. You know what? Let's see how long it takes us to get to 30 levels, shall we? And just like that, 30 levels in 2 minutes. You can't beat that, people. You can't beat that for the effort that it takes to go into this farm. It's just absolutely great. And that being that, there's only a couple more things that you need to do, and this farm is good to go and golden. These are marker blocks here. We no longer need these things in here, and you can go ahead and remove them out all over this farm. Now these spawn blocker columns, we still need those here, and one of 2 things you should do in this situation. Either 1, put a slab on top of that so nothing can spawn on top of that, or 2, light it up. I would recommend the slab, but you can do whichever way that you want to do. Also, if there are any caves underneath of this, you need to go light up your caves, because guardians share the cave cap. Even though they look like they spawn on the surface, they are technically a cave cap. So make sure that you do any lighting of caves that needs to be done underneath of your guardian farm. As an added bonus, we are now offering world downloads to all Patreons for all farms that we build in the Discord. But that being that's where we're going to call this one a tutorial. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like. If you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing. And I will see all of you all in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.